News media, we have Mike Eads from the Opelika Auburn News and Hannah Lester from the Opelika Observer. Public comment from citizens, we have 3 that have signed in. The commission has a policy of allowing 3 minutes. Mr. Byrd, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I spoke with y'all earlier this month about the hospital, and I've had an opportunity to do a little more research. And I know that for the last 45 years, I've been paying property tax. That there's a special hospital tax of 2.5 mils per dollar. EAMC is owned by the East Alabama Healthcare Authority, a body both politic and corporate. In other words, the county sort of kind of shares ownership, so to speak, with it. And as a government entity, the hospital does not pay income tax, probably doesn't pay property tax either. I don't know what other support the county gives the EAMC, but I do know that the county commission approves the board members. I don't know if they get to propose any of the members or whatever, but I don't know the exact nature of the relationship. But so when I got food poisoning and had to go to the ER with my insurance card, I expected prompt, humane treatment. It took 3 hours to finally see a doctor, and during the wait, I was warehoused in a tiny room with 5 other sick people without proper social spacing. 2 weeks previously, I'd had a medical procedure, and when I got the bill, I was charged for goods and services that I didn't receive. And I've been working with them to try to get the records and see if we can square that out, but so far we haven't resolved it. They don't want me to come down to see the records because of the COVID. But it was okay for them to warehouse me in that little room with those other people for 3 hours. So that's a double standard. EAMC sold 75% of its home care of East Alabama to LHC Group in 2011. LHC was fined $65 million for filing false claims with Medicare. The former director of Aperion Laboratory Solutions, Lehman Fight, a former employee of East Alabama Healthcare, filed suit in district court alleging violations of the False Claim Act, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how much my time is going here.
Got a minute to go.
Got a minute, thank you. But it looks, I got a fall. Maybe a pattern's developing, maybe it's not. I won't know until I get the records from EAMC. I do know that 2 years ago, the healthcare bonds were sold for $31.7 million. The stated opinion of the bond counsel is that the county is legally obliged to levy the special hospital tax to the extent necessary to prevent a default in payment of the debt service to the 2018 bonds. So the people are sort of strapped to this, and the anecdotal evidence is pretty good about mistreatment at the hospital, and I just want y'all to be aware. I'm going to continue to try to work this out with the AMC and research what's going on, but I need some time.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. That's
okay,
great.
Judge, can I just ask you one question?
Mr. Byrd, that's 3 minutes, and I'm not going to answer your question. So.
Okay. Well, I need some documents, and I'll just go through the formal channel. Thank you, sir.
Eric Gansauer. Did I say your name close to right?
Yes, you did.
Thank
you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, my name is Eric Gansauer. I live at 144 Lee Road 518, which is in the Kennington subdivision. I was before this board back in January with a couple of issues, and one of those issues was our entrance road. Thankfully, you were repairing the road, and they are doing a wonderful job on the road. The substrate that they've worked on today, when I came out to come here, was smoother than the asphalt was before they've taken it up. I do, however, have one issue with the work that's being done. I received a text message from my son on Thursday, the 8th of October, saying that the county was tearing up the trees at the entrance to our subdivision like they have on 240 and other places in the county. I was late coming home that night. It was dark. I didn't see it until the next day. I left a message on the engineer's answering machine Friday the 9th, late in the afternoon. It was not a happy message. Now, I am a certified arborist. I'm the longest certified arborist in the state of Alabama and Georgia. I work for the city of Columbus, Georgia. I'm a municipal specialist. I am an expert. The way the county trims their trees, and I use that word loosely, is not the standard. Being that you are a stone's throw away from a land-grant university that has a forestry department that can tell your people and probably train your people on how to do this right. I can understand why they do it in rural areas. This is the entrance to a subdivision. Not only a subdivision, but on Road 212, our property values are the highest of any of the subdivisions along 212. I've asked the engineer if he would fix what they've done wrong when they finish the paving job. He says, no, they're not. It's going to be left as it is. I told him in our phone conversation, if I have to go in and fix the trees and correct what they've done wrong, I will bill the county.
I've got one question. Are these trees on private property?
No, sir, Commissioner Long. These trees that were cut, as Mr. Ganzower is saying, were along the county right-of-way going into Kennington subdivision. They were cut back. The limbs were cut back in order to allow room for us to park the equipment that we're using to improve the subdivision's entrance and roadway going in, so that we weren't parking this large equipment in people's driveways and blocking sight distance coming in and out of driveways. That's why the trees have been cut back. They were cut back with the same machines we use, as he's referencing, to cut the trees back on county rights-of-way throughout Lee County. But they
Using
were
a brush
cut
cutter.
on the county's right-of-way.
Using a brush cutter?
Yes, sir, using our brush cutters that we have. Yes, sir.
All right.
And again, that is not the industry standard. I don't have a problem with him making room for his machinery. I mean, everybody that has a property there would have been up in arms if they would park that machinery on their property. I don't blame them. I can tell you that 100% of the people in the subdivision are happy to see the road. But after they're done, we have to look at something that's going to be ugly for years and possibly cause, be a hazard years down the road. It is not correct. It's not to industry standards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question?
Got you.
Last one is County Bill English, and this is my final citizens communication report. I'm bringing to you tonight as part of the settlement of our federal litigation. We once again held on-site absentee voting on this past Saturday here in the courthouse. The first one in Smiths, we had 75 to 80 people. The second one in Auburn, we had about 160. This past Saturday, we had about 275. I assume everybody that came to this building today saw what we've been dealing with for the last 2 weeks. That will continue through this Thursday. It's important to stress the deadline to apply for an absentee ballot is the 29th, which is this coming Thursday. Our absentee count exceeded 11,000 either Saturday or this morning. We don't have time to pin it down exactly. We have about 125,000 registered voters. We have appointed 400 poll workers to work this election. That's the largest number we've ever appointed. Training for them will start on Wednesday, go through Thursday. Please go vote. Thank you.
Can you repeat again what number of voters we have and what number have voted?
We have about 125,000. I think it was 124.7 something last I looked.
And 11,000
That
have
had to
voted?
been Saturday, not today. And we exceeded 11,000 absentee requests either late Saturday or early this morning.
So we're close to 10%.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is, and for your information, our record of absentees is 3,100 4 years ago in a presidential general. So we're going to be almost 4 times the record for absentee voters. But I'll be honest, a lot of voters this year are treating it as early voting, not as absentee voting. We're accommodating everybody best we can. We've had some complaints. We understand the lines. We've got as many people and as many computers on it as we can. We've been getting reorders of ballots frequently. Nobody's been turned away to my knowledge. Nobody's not gotten a ballot to my knowledge.
please thank your staff for all of their hard work and the extra people that have come in. I know that that's been,
Well, ma'am, I can't say enough about James Majors, our absentee election manager. He and his staff are managing that. I'm not.
well,
But since you brought it up, I got sheriff's office staff, highway department staff, maintenance staff, IT staff. All of the IT staff's been across the street with us on election stuff for a couple of days, and will be for a couple of more. The county employees are what make this fly, not me.
we appreciate it.
I probably left out a department. I got to tell you, they're all stepping up. Everybody's present. Commissioner Ham, we have a quorum. Sheriff, I'm going to call you up to recognize your employees for promotions. What we'll ask is if they'll depart when that's over, everybody will then need to be in a seat or in the lobby. We're not going to be able to have people on the floors or standing in the corners anymore.
Yes, sir. Judge, lady, and gentlemen of the commission, our best resource is always and always will be our people, and that endeavor, want to recognize some of our individuals who have recently been promoted. Just as an aside, this is not something that they are just given because they've been there a while. They earned these promotions through a testing process or appointment process, so certainly it is just not a whim by any shape or form of the imagination. I'd like to start with Erin Pierce. Erin's standing over to my left. She's the first one in line on the wall. She's got 18 years of law enforcement experience. She was hired with the Sheriff's Office in 2007. She's from Michigan. I didn't know that. And currently lives in Beauregard. She also has a grown daughter that's about to graduate from the university, from Auburn University, and a son as a senior in high school. Lee Crisp there's Lee. All right, just raise your hand, y'all. Okay. Lee Crisp, and I'm sorry, she was promoted to rank of sergeant. I left the best part out. She will be one of our first line supervisors in one of our patrol units. Lee Crisp, promoted to the rank of corporal. He's 6 years law enforcement experience. He had 3 years prior with Lynette PD, just north of us. He grew up in Columbus, Phoenix City area, currently lives in Smith Station, and we asked him to say a little something about their interests. He and his wife had 2 small children, and he's a season ticket holder for the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if that'd be a good thing or not. I don't know, but anyway, I'll just leave that where it is. We sympathize with you. Jason Purvis. Jason? I'm sorry, Lee was promoted to the rank of corporal, as is Jason Purvis to the rank of corporal. He has 18 years of law enforcement experience. He started with our reserve program. We get a lot of our full-time staff eventually from our reserve program. It's a very, very active group, and they help us tremendously.
Jason, you going to shoot me if I tell it? Are you sure? I kind of created a nickname for Jason. For some of you may recognize the name Melvin Purvis. Was the FBI agent that brought down John Diller, and when I saw his name Purvis, I asked, was any kin to Melvin? He kind of looked at me funny. And every time I see him, I remember Melvin. I have a hard time remembering Jason. Congratulations.
Jason is originally from Phoenix City, and a little interest about what he pointed out to us, and I believe your son is here with you tonight? Yeah. His son is maintained straight A's from kindergarten all the way through K-12, so he thinks that's a good accomplishment.
Wow.
I couldn't agree more.
Wow.
So,
Fabulous.
in our investigations division, Mitch Allen, Mitch, you're in the very back. Mitch was promoted to corporal. He's been in law enforcement for 16 years. He's a Beauregard native, still there. He and his wife have a small daughter, and he's also an 11-year member of our SWAT team. And Mitch, you have some family with you tonight?
I have my wife, Amy Allen, my father, Ray Allen, and my mother, Patty Allen.
And let's see, last but, no, a couple more. Rob Alexander, promoted to the rank of corporal. Rob's in our school resource division, by the way, which we're very, very proud of. 13 years of law enforcement experience. He's currently in the SRO division, as mentioned, and also is a canine handler to Charlie. Charlie is a black Labrador retriever and is the most popular deputy in Lee County. Okay. He's a resident of the Beulah area, a wife and 2 sons. He's got a senior in high school as well. And in our court security division, last but not least, Brent Davis, standing under the screen, is 16 years of law enforcement experience, also as a U.S. Army vet, 6 years in the military. Lives in Auburn. He and his wife have 3 school-age sons. And Brent, did you have anyone here with you this evening?
Yes, there's my wife, Amy Davis, there, my other son, Connor,
Great. As you can see, our emphasis is on family with the sheriff's office, and we feel like that's extremely important with all of our folks. And Brent enjoys playing golf, and he's not too bad at it, from what I understand. So, anyway, appreciate the commission's indulgence. We'd like to recognize our people, especially when they distinguish themselves through activity and through achievement. And we appreciate your time.
I'm going to ask one question. Brent, do you run track by chance? Or did you used to? Because he's been running track up and down the hall here all day today. I've
Yes,
seen him go by my office so many times. That's not exactly court security, but we appreciate it.
Oh, congratulations all.
All right, we'll let y'all be excused. And if everybody else will either have a seat, or if there aren't enough seats, we will make some available through some county employee seats.
Mike, that would have been.
Good, enough seats. All right, Miss Mia?
Good evening. We're going to do some recognition tonight. For those of you who don't know, our emergency management agency deployed 36 people from Lee County to assist Baldwin County. Some of those folks came out of Opelika Fire Department, the Auburn Fire Department, Auburn Police Department, the Lee County Sheriff's Office, and then 3 of our staff deployed. And so we're going to recognize City of Opelika folks at their council meeting in a couple weeks, and when Auburn has their first open meeting again and not a Zoom, we will recognize those. But I wanted to recognize the 3 that work in our office tonight. The sheriff has their certificates to recognize his staff. I just think it's a worthy note. If all 3 of y'all come at the same time, Austin, Billy, and Stephen, deployments are not fun. I've been on 11 in my career, and sometimes you have a nice place to sleep and a good meal, and sometimes you eat Cajun surprise for 3 days, and you're so glad to come home, aren't you, Austin? But it's always an honor to go help those other folks. Those folks helped us. They came from Baldwin County and helped us during the tornado, so we were quickly to say yes and then gather who we had. So we did recognition certifications for their record, your willingness to support Baldwin County after Hurricane Sally made landfall and their agencies were exhausted was honorable and humbling to those leading the mission. Your selflessness to serve not only Lee County, but anyone in need is admirable and deserves recognition. Thank you for your service and a job absolutely well done. I'm super proud, and the commission should be super proud of the employees that we have.
Absolutely, thank you.
Austin?
Wasn't exactly a trip to the beach, huh?
No, they didn't get to go to the beach. So, Sheriff?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all.
As y'all are aware, as Rita referred to, the assistance that was provided to those that needed us most down at the coast when hurricane came through, that was a payback for us because they dropped what they were doing and came here in March of 2019. The least we could do is return that favor. We had 16 sheriff's deputies that responded under the mutual aid agreement and coordinated by our emergency management agency, and we would have brought all 16 in here, but obviously we felt like that might not be a good thing to do. So, Captain Wallace, I'm just going to present the certificates en masse to Captain Wallace, and he will distribute those as known. But just to let you know that we did have 16 sheriff's deputies that went for a period of 3 weeks? About 3 weeks, and spent the night in the jail in different places that they could put them up with. And but they were outstanding. The folks down there treated us very well. And as a matter of fact, it got to the point where they were requesting Lee County deputies to come down specifically because of the service they provided. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, in your packets. Did everybody get packets? Gary got hand delivered because he didn't get his previous one. You should have found the minutes of our October 13th meeting. In addition, there were 4 claims in your packet, or I'm sorry, 3 in your packet, another one on your bench. There are a list of claims that have been paid per your policy. They're awaiting ratification. There's an additional list for ratification on the bench today. In your packet also were invoices that are awaiting approval for payment and blackballed P-card. Any questions about the minutes or the claims? We do have one vacancy on the Beulah Utilities Board. David Jackson has filled out a citizen interest form. There's one vacancy, one request, so we will not need a special or a separate vote on that one. Any other questions about minutes, claims, or the first reading?
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's unanimous. Commissioner LeGrand wants to talk some trash.
I like that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to give everybody an update on our litter plan in Lochapoka. We have 2 signs that are up on Highway 88, the no littering signs that we presented at the last commission meeting. We have 2 signs up on the Willis Turk Road and 2 signs off of Highway 14 on private property. Now, once again, I want to reemphasize that this has been provided not by the county commission, by private people that have pride in Lochapoka. On November the 4th, from 6 to 8 in the morning, the Auburn University ROTC cadets will be out in the community helping us with the litter plan. Now, this litter plan, I don't know if we mentioned it before, but this is part of their annual project that they do. And when I got wind of it, I jumped on it and reached out to them, and they said, hey, we'll be happy to be a part of it since we'll already be out. Also coming from the private sector on that morning, we will have a dumpster out there that will be picked up by the private sector. And I'll be doing my radio show from there in Lochapoka that morning. So that is our latest update.
So people can come and bring things to that dumpster that morning?
I'm sorry.
Can people come and bring things to that dumpster that
Oh,
morning?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, and you're talking about that on the radio so they know it?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
That's great.
Most definitely. I'm really excited about it, and the feedback that we've got from the people in the community seem like they're excited as well, so it's a good starting point, I
Very
think.
good.
So you said 6 to 8 a.m.?
Uh-huh. You coming out?
I said I was, so yeah, I guess so, as long as you have the coffee.
Commissioner, I'm just going to ask, I'm not always out by 6, but it's dark lately to me. What are we doing about?
Well,
about
the good
dark?
part about that is 2 good things, with the daylight savings time changing this week.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right.
Preferably,
Bingo.
hopefully that'll, have some good effect.
And it's the night
And the
after.
sheriff's department's going to be out there as well, so.
And the
Okay.
morning after the election, so you might be a little tired.
Yeah, if I'm finished with Tuesday yet. Jerry? Biggest election you recall us seeing? It is for me too. Jerry's maintenance folks been doing double duty with us trying to get everything ready. We're still not. We're gonna get there, aren't we? All right. Second item is a corrective statutory warranty deed for a transfer to the city of Opelika. This is something we've already done. This is the alleyway behind the Alabama Office Supply Building. Someone, don't know who, found something in the deed they wanted to correct. I know the city attorney, Mr. Gunner, and our attorney, Mr. Martin, have reviewed this, sent it back and forth, and it's my understanding they're both satisfied. And this is just cleaning up something we've already done. It's a fairly narrow little strip, has a dumpster in it, if I recall. Anybody have any questions? I'd need authority to sign this on behalf of the commission.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is unanimous. Mr. Martin, thank you. We didn't know that was coming, did we? Okay, firearms policy for county buildings. I have copied you section 13A 1161.2 concerning the carrying of firearms in the county buildings. If you look at paragraph B, and a person, including a person with a pistol permit, may not, without the express permission of the authority over the premises, knowingly possess, carry a firearm inside any building or facility. That's in the law, it's been in the law, we're not adding that to the law. Given recent events, we have had a couple of requests for permission to be granted expressly. I'm going to suggest that rather than bringing each and every one of those to the commission for a vote, if you would grant Mr. Rendelman and myself the authority to issue those as kind of like we have the similar authority on the coronavirus procedures and so forth. Obviously, anybody that we deny, we would bring before the commission on an appeal of our decision, and y'all would make the ultimate decision if somebody's not satisfied with our determination. Any questions about that? We've had the building posted for years. I know some of the doors with some of the renovations lost their sticker that says no firearms. So we will reinforce that and make sure it's up and visible everywhere. It probably has not been here lately. That doesn't change that it was in the criminal code, but we need to have the signs posted.
I make a motion giving you the authority, and Roger, is that well?
Yes, sir, I would think.
Okay,
I second it.
And or the sheriff, if y'all,
and I'm fine with that too.
all right. Have a motion and a second?
Second.
Second, all right. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is unanimous. Sheriff Jones, Cowboy Liquors. Sounds like it'll be a sporty place.
Yes, this Cowboy Liquors, this is actually the Pearl's Truck Stop at exit 70 on the interstate north, just, well, literally at the Chambers County line. The Chambers County line splits the
building.
facility in
Yeah,
half.
yeah.
But anyway, as you, Commissioner may recall, you've granted, I believe, a 05070, a off-premise wine and beer recently to the same establishment. This would be an 011, which is a restaurant liquor Class 2 package, which would be purchase and leave. It would not be on-premise consumption. It is in District 4. I know Commissioner Ham's not here tonight, so whatever action the commission wants to take.
And that's not one I think requires a commissioner of the district to make the motion, so I think we could go ahead.
I move for approval.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion's unanimous. Oh, boy. Come on, Patrick. Mr. Harville's going to make a presentation about A-Trip 2, and Mr. Hardy has sworn me to go easy on him.
Thank you for that. Judge, I hope everyone got in their packet copies of the A-Trip 2 application we'd like to submit. What this program is, it was passed in 2019 as part of the Rebuild Alabama Act. You guys have probably heard or remember A-Trip 1. That's a program that was intended primarily for counties. Lee County in particular, we got 14 bridges replaced out of A-Trip 1 and numerous miles of roads paved. A-Trip 2 is quite different from that. It shares the name, but it's intended for more the state maintained system opposed to the county maintained system. For fiscal year 2021, the state has approved $30 million with the maximum funding to any project capped at $2 million. And again, this is improvements to state right-of-way, state roads, not county roads and bridges. This is actually the second year of A-Trip 2. Last year was the first year after the passage of the act. We did not apply for anything last year. We took kind of a wait-and-see approach, wanted to see what kind of projects were approved and what those project costs came in at to give us an idea of what the committee that would approve these projects would be looking for, then also kind of an idea of what kind of cost to expect with these projects. Would it be in something we've never done before with proposing cost estimates for state roads. For this program, all phases of an awarded project, including preliminary engineering, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and construction engineering and testing and inspection, all that's to be overseen or performed by ALDOT with all those costs part of your project submittal or applicable project cost. In the project, the application, we're requesting a total amount of nearly $750,000, nearly $750,000 for the installation of a right turn deceleration lane and a right turn acceleration lane at the intersection of County Road 249 and US 280 in the Salem area. We chose this location after talking with AlDOT, and that the intersection has some issues with intersection sight distance. You don't have very good sight distance when you're exiting the intersection, looking to the left. So that's why we're looking at the right turn lane to get people that's on US 280 out of the through lanes. They can turn right without risk of being hit from behind, people that may not see them. Then also the acceleration lane for people that are leaving County Road 249, getting on to 280 to give them time to accelerate and get to speed with the rest of the traffic on US 280. Applications are due by October 30th, so sorry I didn't get this to you guys earlier for more consideration, but we are kind of up against the deadline here of with the approval tonight or not to decide if we want to submit this project to AlDOT for consideration. Like I said, October 30th is the deadline. You have, after the award of the project, you have 2 years to get the money or get the project lit, basically to get the money spent. You've got 2 years for that. So tonight, what you guys got in the packet, what we're asking for is approval of the chairman to sign the letter of intent for us to submit this application and apply for these funds for the improvements on US 280. With that, if you guys have any questions?
I can tell
Right.
you, this is not in my district. It was when I first got on the commission. But I get a lot of phone calls about it, and I appreciate y'all doing this. I talked to AlDOT the last time we met with AlDOT and asked them, could they do something? They offered to put up solar-powered LED lights on, like, turn ahead. I don't know what it was. They never did it. When Mr. Hardy had told me that y'all were doing this, I'm really glad. And since Robert's not here tonight, I would like to make the motion that we allow them to proceed on with this.
I got a question. Am I reading this correctly, that the county's requesting 100% of the cost to be provided through the Alabama Transportation Rehabilitation Improvement Program? Is that correct?
That's correct. We did that because all of the improvements are on state right-of-way. The county road system is not getting improved. We're looking at this as this is kind of it was an intersection that had some deficiencies that we would like for AlDOT, the state, to prioritize funding toward, and kind of the funding mechanism being HRIP 2 is the reason for the 100% from the state.
Patrick, I'm going to do a Cliff Note summary for Ms. McCall's minutes so we can get this short and sweet. It is 100% state funded. There is no match. We're required to request it. It is not on any county road or right-of-way. It's on state road or right-of-way. They make all the decisions about the work. We're just kind of almost the conduit, if you will, for the funding to come through for them to fix state roads. Is that accurate?
Correct, with the caveat of if there's any overrun in project cost or any utility relocation necessary for the project, the county does have to bear that cost. So overruns or utilities would be on us if that happens.
And y'all are comfortable that we're covered there, we're not going to have an issue with huge cost overrun from AlDOT? They made a decision that cost us money.
We hope not. We talked to other counties, try and get an idea of
I
from
know you
them.
can't guarantee it,
Yeah.
I understand,
Yeah.
I just,
We tried to pad the estimate
Yeah.
enough to give us some contingency there.
and this is something legislators want to see, it's what I heard now. I'm going to go off course here just a minute, Mr. Hardy. Take a big breath.
Yes,
I
sir.
want Patrick to know how much praise Mr. Hardy was giving you today about the amount of work and the quality of the work that you put into this. This is part of why he wanted you up here presenting it tonight, and I think that was very good, and I'm very impressed with the work as well. So you need to know sometimes when there's an attaboy behind something like that. And I want y'all to know. I'll let Mr. Hardy ad-lib from there on Mr. Harville.
Well, and the commission knows. You've all met Patrick, you've dealt with Patrick. He does an outstanding job as the assistant engineer in Lee County. We are fortunate to have him. This is something he spearheaded. He coordinated with the state. He coordinated with other counties. Like he said, we waited purposely. We were trying to finish making sure we met deadlines on the spending of other state and federal programs at the time of the first one. And we also, like you mentioned, wanted to see what's getting awarded, what's getting the attention, what's got a viable viable chance of getting approved. And this is similar to some projects other counties have received. In doing so, knowing the risk of the overruns being 100% on the county, that information was also very useful and helpful talking to other counties and their projects to know the contingencies to use, the buildup and coordination with the state, to know to include everything we need to, and we're not caught flat-footed on something we didn't think to include on the front end. Mr. Harville coordinated all of that while continuing to fulfill the duties he has, which are many in the Highway Department. He's also, it's noteworthy to say, he's also going to be starting, once this is approved, if the commission deems so, starting the application for the second A-Trip 2 program that is also generated by the Rebuild Alabama Act that will generate funds for county roadway improvements and projects that you also have to apply and request to be awarded. And so tonight's culmination of this application does not end his work by any means. It begins another one. But he does do a fine job for us, and I wanted him to explain his project and what he had done to y'all so you could see it firsthand. Thank you.
Congratulations, Patrick.
Well, I'd just like to say, now that my question's been answered, I would like to second it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's unanimous. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
Mr. Norris, you want us to adopt rules, huh?
I hope so.
Who's going to enforce them?
We'll get to that later. Did you guys get a copy of everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Essentially, just looking to, this is more or less information that we want to post throughout the park at Beulah. We'll work through finalizing signs, how they look, where they go, all that kind of good stuff once we get the information adopted. But essentially, we'll put this up in Beulah, and then we'll copy and paste when we go to Beauregard when they're ready for that also. Any questions on anything that was listed?
I had a chance to look over them. I don't see a single one I think we shouldn't have up there. Might be a few more we could put, but I guess there's a limit. Have we addressed at all what we might do if somebody's not complying?
Hoping to kind of partner with the deputies on that and, just have some some reinforcement on those. I hope it doesn't ever get to that. But more or less, essentially, asking them to leave the park, and then we'll kind of.
Have you given this to the rec board, Lee County Rec Board yet?
They have seen that, yes, sir.
Okay, good. Any questions?
I'd just like to compliment you on, when I first saw this at the Recreation Board meeting the other night, I think this is going to be something good for everybody.
I hope so. Again, just trying to lay some ground rules and, expectations and try to hold people accountable of protecting a very, very nice looking park. So
I'm hoping the rec board and the rec leagues, the various coaches and league officials will spread the word.
I'm hoping so too.
Be a non-event.
Well, I love the last four.
Yeah, I actually borrowed those from a sign that the Beulah Recreation Association already had posted on one of their fields at the high school. So they've had some input as well, more or less. I just kind of researched it, put it together, and said, hey, what do you think? No objections. So that's kind of where we are now. So
It's a funny and good reminder.
I thought so too.
That's in Robert's district. He's not here. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Ryan.
All right, thank you.
Just a reminder, week from tomorrow, November 3rd, is a fairly big election day. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time countywide. Turnout is expected to be somewhere between 60 and 70%. I'm right now closer to 65, probably. Not going to be shocked if it goes up a little. We'll be shocked if it's less than 60. Our last two presidential elections, it was 56 or 57%. This is clearly bigger. Make sure everybody realizes it may take you a little while. It's going to be an interesting day. And our next meeting is a rare Thursday meeting, November the 12th, where we will have the swearing in of new commissioner. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor, say bye.
Bye.
Bye.